Alrighty, hello. I just got asked a question in my Discord, and it reminded me of a video I wanted to make a little while back. So I'm gonna make it real quick. So the question that was asked was if there's any like ramp timers for the new raid. I'm gonna try to not move because we're trying to avoid that. For like ramp timers for discipline priests in the new raid, or just timers in general of like where should I be using my CDs. And the way that we do this is through a couple different resources. So I'll link them all in the description or in a pinned comment down below. If you don't see them, yell at me in the comments and I will do it immediately. But it should be there as long as I don't forget. So the three things that we need method raid tools. This add-on right here. I think it also can be called mythic raid tools, but you get into the add-on by typing /MRT. We'll worry about that later, but we just need to have it downloaded for now. Then the next thing is a weak aura called Kaze MRT timers. I'll also have that linked. It's a weak aura, so you need the weak auras add-on. And what this will do is allow us to make notes and display reminders on our screen depending on what our notes are. And I will go over that as well here shortly. And then the last resource we're going to use to tie this all together that makes it super easy so that it's like low effort and you really don't have to do anything. You can literally like plug and play essentially with this setup. Say you have raid in like an hour and you haven't done the new raid yet, or you don't know the bosses, or you haven't looked at logs, or you don't really know how to, or you don't know where to start. You're going to go to this website here called lorgs.io with 2 R's. And then what you can do is you're going to pick your spec. So say you're playing a Discipline Priest. We'll do this with a couple different healers just to show an example. So you pick Disc Priest, and then you pick the difficulty that you want to do. Say you're going into Heroic for the first time. We're going to pick Heroic since the timers can be a little bit different. And then we just go to whatever boss we want. And say we're going to do the first boss first, just for an example. Okay, and then the next thing is up here at the top. We can select which cooldowns we want to see from other players. So we could see when they press barrier. We could see, base this essentially off of wherever your raid is. If your raid is assigning you cooldowns, then you could remove those. But if there's certain cooldowns that your raid is not assigning, then you could keep these on. So say your raid is assigning your barrier, you could take that off and just have your ramps. So now you just have your Shadow Fiend, your Mindbender, whatever you're running, and then your Evangelism and your Ultimate Penitence. So say we just have this and we don't care about barrier. Cool. You can also even add Radiance in here. Say you want to know where to press Radiance. You're not sure where to use each individual Radiance and stuff like that in between ramps. This can also do that for you. But what we're going to do is just keep it simple with just the ramps for now. So now what we do is we just find somebody on here. Usually I try to find somebody that I know, or is from like a guild that I might know or something like that. You don't want to necessarily just pick number one. Look for something that's sort of consistent across the board that you're seeing with most groups. So like right here we see a big batch of like kind of all the same cooldowns being used. And then there's some of these Shadow Fiends that are a little bit ahead. Again, it's really not a big deal. Just try to find one that's not completely different from the others, essentially. So we're going to go ahead and pick this one right here, Light F. It's number 4. And these are just the parse numbers, so like the healing rankings, essentially. So we're going to look at this, and we just hit this copy button right here. Copy ERT note. You can put your name in here if you want. You also don't have to, but if you're doing it in like a group note, then you're going to want to. So I will put my name in here like this. And then we keep dynamic timer checked off unless it's certain bosses. It's just something you have to kind of mess with. And all we're going to do is click inside this box and copy it. So there we go. I hit Control-C to copy it. Now I'm going to go in my game. So I go in World of Warcraft. I'm going to type /ERT or MRT to open the method raid tools. We're going to go to the notes section. And just while we're in raid, while we're popping, like getting ready to pop up to the boss and stuff, we can hit personal note right here. And then we just paste this in. So now I hit Control-V. And now what you should see, because I have my settings to only show the note in raid, is even if your guild has a note above, it will display below it. You can also set it to like only show in raid. You can set it to only show personal note right here, show only personal note if we only care about that. And then now what is going to happen is when we go to this boss in the raid, at 11 seconds into the fight, it will literally pop up on our screen and tell us to use our cooldown. So to give an example, since I'm not in the raid, it will literally pop up like this right here, and it'll say evangelism in 5 seconds or evangelism in 10 seconds, and then I know I need to start ramping. So for this, the whole idea of when it pops up on your screen, since as a disc priest you might want it to pop up pretty far ahead of time, we're going to go into our weak auras. So we type /WA. We're going to look up Kaze MRT timer. So I just put Kaze, and then now we click on this weak aura here. We go to custom options, and it lets us customize it. So now we can display the icon spell name, display icon text, we can have it glow, and then the warn duration is when it pops up on our screen and warns us. So for a disc priest, you might want this at, say, like 20 or 15 seconds or something like that. So we go like this. Maybe I'll go like 18 seconds. And then what this will do is we can also enable when it starts counting down or like using text-to-speech and stuff like that. And then basically it will tell us at 18 seconds, it will say, it'll pop up on our screen and say in 18 seconds you're doing this. And then whenever we enable text-to-speech, it'll say evangelism in 5 or evangelism in 18. And then we know we can hear and see. We get visual audio cues. We can set it up however we want, all that stuff. And then you can enable countdown 3, 2, 1. So it'll go evangelism in 5, 4, 3, 2, etc. And then that's pretty much it. And then now say we go to the next boss. So now we're going to the second boss in the raid. Our group's killing trash and we're walking up to the second boss. I just tab over. I go to the second boss, Cauldron of Carnage, say we're going. I look at Disc Priest. Maybe I can look for the same person. If not, I can just find one that's pretty consistent across the board. So maybe we'll take like this one right here. And we hit copy. Copy it. We go back in game. And then /ERT. We just change our personal note. And if we want, I think you can also save like multiple personal notes. Like you can do this right here. You can add personal notes. So I can hit add. And then I can do like boss. And I can say this one's for Vexy. And then I can copy that old personal note in here. And then I can go add boss Cauldron of Carnage. And then I add this in here. And then you can have it even auto load during certain bosses. But if we want to just do this, then we just hit set as personal note. And there we go. Now we have our Cauldron of Carnage cooldowns. And that's pretty much it. And then it'll just pop up and basically hold your hand through when you should be pressing your cooldowns. And you can do this for literally any healer class. This also works. This originally was really, really useful for DPS. And then people started finding out where it was super useful for healers and stuff. So now it's a really good resource for pretty much everybody. So now say we want to do Pres Evoker or a Mistweaver Monk. Maybe we want to know where people are using certain things, or Resto Shaman. It doesn't really matter. We just click on somebody. So we go to Resto Druid, and now we can see I want to know where to use my Convoke. I want to know where to use my Flourish. I want to know where to use, I guess that's pretty much it. You could even do like potions and stuff if you need a help, like reminder, if you need help reminding yourself to use those kind of things. And then we just copy one of them. So we find one again that's pretty consistent across the board, maybe one of these. We hit copy, and then we change our name to our Druid's name. Or again, if it's a personal note, you don't need to, but if it's on like a group note or anything like that, or you don't want it to pop up if you're like switching characters or something, then you would do this. So I'd switch it to more shapes, and then I'd copy it, and then I'd log into my Druid. I'd tap /ERT, and then I'd make a personal note, and I'd go like that. And now my Druid is ready to do the fight. You can also have the notes visually displayed up here. You can hide them. Even if you hide them, like if I go like this, hide during combat, or anything like that, it won't like disable it or anything like that. The only time it disables it is if you like have it actually disabled. Like you have it completely, not just hidden, but turned off. Like right here, if I disable it, then now it won't work. Pretty much it. So I would jump into a raid and show you guys an example, but hopefully that's good enough, and this kind of gives you a rough idea of how it works. But yeah, hopefully that's helpful, and thank you for reminding me in my Discord to make this video. So be sure to stop by the Discord if you have questions. I'm pretty quick to answer. I have Discord on my phone and everything, so if people are asking questions in there, I'm usually pretty quick to respond. I'm always happy to help people out. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys are all having fun in the new raid.